Hey guys, 5 Minute Fix here. Yeah, Happy New Year. I got a haircut. Yeah, so we're working on this 85 350X. And you know, the Achilles heel on these things is the top of the head and the oiling system. And so we've got this one tore apart here. That's exactly what was wrong with it. I won't go into all the details of why this one failed, but we're in the process of putting it back together. And this video here is about lapping your valves. When you go to the parts store, you may have a hard time finding lapping compound because it goes by a lot of different names. Some people call it valve grinding compound. Some people call it lapping compound. They'll want to sell you a little tool like this where you sit there and rub your hands, and that's old school and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not how I do it. I actually saw a video many years ago and I tried it and I like it, and this is how I do it. So as you see, I've got my head here on the table, and the way I like to do it is I use a cordless drill, and when I strip my head down, I've got all the parts off, I kind of lay everything over, kind of figure out what I'm going to keep and what I'm not. And this particular head had no damage to the head itself or the cam, thank goodness, but it did destroy a valve spring, and that's what collapsed the valve. And then we found this other stuff, and we won't get into that in this video, but this is about putting your head back together and lapping your valves. And so what you're going to want to do, and this is how I do it, first thing you want to keep organized here. If you're going to work on your head, you know, left to right, your intake and exhaust, lay your parts out the same way, intake and exhaust, and that way you know left and right is always the same. Once you lap a valve to a particular hole, if you will, that valve always needs to go back in that hole every time. If you start mixing and matching it, there's no point in lapping it. You want to fit this surface of the valve to the surface of the valve seat here in the head. Now I've already replaced the guides, so we've got brand new guides, and yes, they've been reamed out to fit these valves, and these are brand new Kibble White valves, probably one of the better known aftermarket valves on the market. But when you're inserting your valve, what I like to do is I'll take a literal amount of valve compound, and it's going to look like this. And I've already done this head, so I'm not going to do it again, but I'm going to tell you how to do it. And I put a literal amount of valve compound on the valve, and then I insert it into the head. And as you see, I've got these boards on my table so I can have kind of a void here, so the valve, when it protrudes beyond the table, it won't jam into the table. Then I like to take a cordless drill and I actually chuck the valve up into the cordless drill. Now be careful now, because you got a lot of weight here, and this is how I do it. And I plunge back, creating pressure on the actual face or the back side of the valve. And I go the other direction. And that's how I do that. Plunge 10 times clockwise and 10 times counterclockwise, and I do that procedure twice with the compound on the valve. Then what I like to do is to kind of check my work is I'll come in, and this is kind of a simple trick. Take you a nice Sharpie marker, and as you see, I've already done this one. And I go all the way around the actual surface where the valve makes contact with the head, the seat. Then I take my valve and I put it back in here, and this is where that old school way of doing things comes in. I'll take this old tool here and I'll actually put it on here. You can put a little spit on there if you want, and then I work it in a circle. Just a little bit, doesn't take much. And then when I pull my valve out, what I'm left with is a perfect clean mark that's actually wiped the magic marker off of the head all the way around. And as long as I have a perfect circle all the way around, then I know that I've got a really good seat between the back of the valve and the front of the head. And now I'm ready to reassemble my head. I've done all four just like that, and it's a pretty simple process. It's something you can do at home. It doesn't take that long, and you really want to take your time when you're setting your head up. These 350Xs, oiling is their Achilles heel. So as always, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.